Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing Friday. As many of you guys might have noticed today, the overall market took a pretty solid plunge today when we received certain news about President Trump saying that he is in no rush to close a deal with China. If you guys have not been following up with the overall market, one of the huge focuses that I have is trading overall crude oil. And like we've said before, I think I made a video about 4 weeks ago talking about when this news first was released, when we saw a huge dump on the overall market, right? And same with forward/CL, which is a crude oil future. This shot up DWT, and today was no exception. As soon as that news was released, I want you guys to understand exactly what happened. I'm going to share how I was able to, take in that information and how I made sense of it. But I want you to do your own due diligence as well. I think that we can both agree that the best way for you to have a better understanding on the overall market is for you to take time to learn a little bit more about what's going on and the series of different factors that are influencing it. So I just shared one article that I read today that I think that can be of great value, that can kind of get you started and giving you a little bit of a better understanding of exactly what happened today and why the market sold off. So I'm going to start sharing my screen just so you guys can check this out. I'm going to make myself just a little bit smaller. But again, I really hope that it earned your thumbs up in this video. And if you guys learned something new, then again, I feel like I did my job in that aspect. So altogether, pretty much what ended up happening was both China and then Trump were supposed to meet up today, talking a little bit more about the trade war that's been going on. I don't know if you guys noticed, about 4 to maybe 5 weeks ago, there was some news that was released that President Trump was going to, in a sense, cut back the date between or increase the overall tariffs for imported goods from China, meaning for China, they import a lot of goods from their country, making it that much more expensive for them to import their goods. And it's no question that that would, in a sense, hurt their economy as well as hurt ours. But I believe Trump did that in a way to leverage his, kind of like negotiation, right? China ended up doing the same thing. So it's kind of been this back and forth for the past 4 to 5 weeks. And it's been no surprise. The market's been very inconsistent. And one of the things that was said today was Chinese officials canceled U.S. farm visits. So again, they didn't allow them to come visit. As Trump says, so this was again during one of his press conferences where he feels no pressure to cut trade deal before 2020 election. Again, I'm not here to share my opinion of what I think is right, what I think is wrong. My opinion is completely irrelevant. I just want to share with you why the market shifted today. Why does this news directly make the market sell off? So what I take from this, and again, correct me if I'm wrong and throw that down in the comment section, all Trump said was that he is in no rush to close a deal when it comes down to this trade war that's going back and forth. What I've read a little bit more about, and as you go through this article and read more articles on top of this, is that Trump in the overall office is looking for a full deal. They're not looking to get closer on a deal. They're not looking to negotiate. They want to close a full deal. And because of this, I don't know if this was an approach when it comes down to him trying to say that, again, I'm going at this at a very relaxed rate. And then China kind of pushes him back with saying, okay, well, if you're not going to close a deal, then we don't want you here. I kind of just feel like these two guys kind of going on right now are trying to show maybe who has the more power. Again, I really don't know. All I know is that this pushes back the date for us to come up with a resolution with this overall trade war that's going on between China and the United States. No question about it. By pushing back the time frame of a resolution. And because of that, that creates uncertainty within our overall economy. As, again, imported goods from China are huge. And if we continue to charge a surplus in tariffs, again, that would make it that much more expensive for China, therefore not making it as attractive for China to import their goods, and vice versa. China doing the same thing to the United States. So as you go down the list, you're going to learn a little bit more about what exactly happened today, the series of comments from both the Chinese and the United States party. And again, as we take a look at the overall market, this is one thing that I want you guys to pay attention to. This is /NQ. So the market was kind of just consolidating. There was no real direction. This is the 1-day 1-minute chart on the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform. This is the platform and the brokerage that I use. In no way is this what you have to use. And one of the things that I want to share is that it really began to sell off. And then this was right around when the market opened. I'm in Arizona, so right around 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the market opens, and that's when we began to see a sell-off. It was right around 10 to 10:15 that we saw this huge sell-off. And one of the things that I wanted to point out is, if you've seen the news for the past 3 days of all this talk of lowering interest rate or cutting interest rate, this is not positive news for the overall market. It brings a lot of uncertainty. And this is exactly why, if you go on the 180-day 4-hour chart, you can see that the market's been consolidating, and if anything, it's been pulling back. And why is this? It's just what I want you to ask yourself is like, okay, the market played out this way, and due to that negative news towards the trade war being the resolution for the trade wars being pushed back, that creates, this uncertainty, which in a sense acts as a direct negative catalyst for the overall market. This is why we saw the market sell off. So by /NQ selling off, this is the NASDAQ future, then we will most likely see everything such as Facebook take a pretty quick dip, right? Everything as in like Amazon, anything that is influenced by the overall market. So if you saw in your portfolio today that there was a pretty solid sell-off, this is most likely why. Again, not always, and not everything is directly influenced by the overall market, but I would say that it has a pretty great influence. On top of that, if you were trading UWT and DWT, like myself, right? I didn't do too hot today. I was actually down on the day about $1,000, and I closed out all my positions. I made $109. Again, not a good week at all when it comes down to trading. But as I saw that huge sell-off on the overall market, I saw DWT shoot up. It just completely ripped it. This is when it happened, right around that 10:10 to 10:15 area. It pushed that pullback and just continued to uptrend. Now it's beginning to correct itself as we're also seeing the market beginning to consolidate. So what I want you to take from this is, if you didn't trade today, great. But what I want you to know is that what we just talked about right now are how news influences the overall market. So due to news that was released today that brought uncertainty about the trade war and pushing back the resolution, was a negative catalyst or negative news towards the overall market, causing the market to sell off. So think about this. Let's keep it simple. Once we receive small amounts of news or news in general that we're getting closer to resolution, then guess what? Now you'll have a better understanding that then we should see an increase and a push up on the overall market. This is the whole reason that I'm making this video, is I want you to be able to understand how to take in this news and this information and be able to understand how the market's going to react. I think the more and the better that you inform yourself, aside from just technicals, the better off you can do. When you see that there's so much uncertainty, right, and the overall Feds are cutting rates, that creates uncertainty within our overall economy, and then that is why we begin to see the overall market begin to sell off and gold begin to push up. Also, just like you guys saw today, for all those that love to trade crude oil, yes, the overall market does have somewhat of an influence on crude oil. This is no surprise. I made a video about 4 weeks ago talking about this correlation, exactly what happened with, if the market continues to have negative catalysts that drive the price down, then we'll most likely see a drop on crude oil, therefore pushing DWT up, right? Especially with all the news that we received on crude oil this week with the Saudi Arabia attack and the missiles, right? And with all the overall refineries, and there being, again, some form of there's the shortage, right? But then that they're going to be able to restore that shortage quicker than expected. All this stuff, all this crazy news is going on. All I want you to remember is that you have nothing but time. You don't have to trade every single day. That's one of the main reasons that I chose to step away once I saw this volatility kick in. This is not normal. This is not something that happens all the time. And if at any point within your trading or investing career, you don't know what's going on, or there's some form of uncertainty or inconsistency, what is one simple thing that you can do that can help? Do not put yourself in a bad position that you cannot get yourself out of. That simple, right? If the market continues to be inconsistent, then guess what? Simply don't trade. Yes, with volatility comes great forms of opportunity, just as much as it comes with great forms of risk. That simple. I'm not here to tell you should or should not trade. I'm just saying that if you cannot justify and have a reason behind every entry, every exit, and manage your risk altogether, regardless if your approach is day trading, investing, swing trading, there's There's so many different ways how you can make or lose money in this market. But at the end of the day, you are the final decision maker on where you choose to put your hard-earned money. And think about this. If you are a day trader, right, you have the option to not trade. That simple. And with there to be uncertainty or inconsistencies, the more you force yourself to trade, just like you maybe noticed this week, the more you put yourself in a bad position, setting yourself up for failure. Let's do one simple thing: be more patient, be more selective, and simply take time to inform yourself. This is not something that I picked up, and again, I still have so much to learn about what the market has to offer, but at the end of the day, I'm someone that's empowered and always so intrigued about learning new things. And if that's you, then I encourage you. I shared a link with you, but even that link is one of many different resources in which that you can have access to get a better edge of what's going on with the overall market. Keep it simple. I have a huge focus on overall direction and for there to be a consistent pattern. Once that direction begins to become less clear, there begins to be more uncertainty. And with more uncertainty, I feel less comfortable and less confident. And at that point, is it really worth taking a position when I'm already so much on edge? Very simple, very little simple things that you can take action and begin to do that can make you feel a little bit more comfortable and getting closer to becoming 5% that actually make money in the market. So that's pretty much it. I shared with you all the links down below. I'm going to be heading on over to Las Vegas today. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to put my number there for you down below. I'm going to have some extra time today. So feel free to send me a text with any questions that you might have. Again, please don't be afraid to use Google or YouTube to search up any generic questions. But if you like what it is that you are seeing on my channel, I run the largest YouTube channel for those who day trade in the stock market. I run the largest Facebook group, which is the free group down below, the first link in the description. And I would love to get connected with those that see value in the content that we create. I really hope that it earned your thumbs up in this video. And if you guys have any comments on how I can improve the information that I'm sharing through my YouTube videos, then feel free to share that either through text message or also in the comments section down below. I wish you guys an amazing Friday. I hope that you guys ended it on a green note. I wish you guys an amazing weekend. And like always, let's make sure that we end the overall year on a green note. Take it easy.